The Dogman took a mate. Dear Scary Stories, NYC. I'm the guy who told you the stories about the Dogman puppy I played with, and then the second time I encountered him, when he was sort of a teenage dogman or young adult. Both of those times, my main fear was not him, but rather his fully grown and extraordinarily gruff father dogman. The elder one was well over 6 feet tall, possibly over 7. I'm just not a good judge of height. The last time I saw the son, he was the size of an adult German shepherd, and mostly quadrupedal. What I mean to say is that he ran around on all fours like a normal dog most of the time. Once in a while, though, you could see the family resemblance, as this guy would stand up and walk around like a dog-shaped human being. The younger one acted as friendly as the friendliest puppy, but the father was a straight-up wild animal that clearly did not like human beings. He would allow his son to play with me, or at least we played together on those 2 isolated days that I've already described to you in previous emails. I had always had my father with me when I encountered the 2 dogmen before, and in the same way, they had also been a father-son team both times. Fast forward 2 or 3 years, I was I think 16 or possibly 17, and I was hanging with my first serious girlfriend that we can call Marla. Marla and I met purely by chance when my dad got into a fender bender with her dad. I'd like to say I asked her out because she was so pretty and smart, but honestly, it was because she was the first female I'd seen that year under the age of 70. When you avoid the town and stay in the woods, you cut down your dating chances significantly. So Marla got me a job in town, which earned me some more friends and a wider world view. Dad and I just sort of naturally drifted apart. Instead of hunting for my food, I worked jobs and bought food for him and me both out of my paychecks. By that point, half or more of the time I spent in the woods was no longer hunting with Dad. It was strolling hand in hand with Marla. She enjoyed bringing me to her favorite places, and I enjoyed taking her on hiking trails and that sort of thing. Then, one day, we walked straight into a world of very high strangeness. Have you ever been walking along on a warm spring or maybe cool summer day, in love with your companion, each breath of air sweeter than the previous one, and then suddenly the day turns dark, like the sky's been blotted out. The breeze turns into a whistling wind, and the perfectly clear day becomes foggier than London in an old Sherlock Holmes movie. Well, that's what happened to us that day. At first I didn't mind too much, as it made Marla cling more closely to me in the wind. But soon, she pointed out a very large man, moving through the mist, seemingly approaching us. The man was unnaturally tall. Marla started breaking down and crying in my arms, which was not helping me focus my attention on what or who that was out there. I could occasionally make out the silhouette of an immense, muscular man. But then the fog would shift again, and I wouldn't see him at all any longer. At another point, I made out the devil-horned head and the 2 eyes, glowing almost white-hot, like coals, in its demonic skull. As cool as I had been a couple of years earlier when my father and I had those dogman encounters, that's how fearful I was in that particular moment. I wasn't with my dad this time. I was with a weeping teenage girl, and I needed to pull myself together. I needed to be the adult in this situation for the sake of my girl, and I needed to regain control of everything before it got really bad for both of us. My dad taught me that most battles are won or lost before they begin, so posturing in front of your opponent can be the key. As much as I felt like crying and hiding inside a tree, I had to act as though I were certain I was the master of whatever was going on. I kept telling myself things in my head like, I got this. But, not exactly that. That's too modern a phrase, but you get my point. Affirmations, they call them now. I think I called it psyching myself up. I made my voice as deep as I could, and I stood as tall as possible. Then I shouted, "Hey, you! Get out of there, see? Like I was, I don't know, Sylvester Stallone or something. I waited for a while, Marla sniffling and whimpering behind me, and I could neither hear nor see any reaction at all from the large devil-horned man in the fog. After some time, I drew in a long breath and got ready to shout the challenge one more time. Before I could get out even one word, though, something huge tackled me and slammed me to the forest floor. Marla was screaming and running away as I lay there, more than a little bit stunned. It wasn't a demon, and it wasn't a devil either. The horns I thought I was seeing in silhouette were tall, pointed Dogman ears. I wondered if this was that adult Papa Dogman again, or if it wasn't, it sure looked like him. I tried to look around for his son, my friend, but this guy was rather large and blocked off nearly my entire field of vision. I was pretty big by the time I was that age. I was 6'2", I believe, and I was not finished growing either. With that Dogman over me, though, I felt like a small child in comparison. To say that this was an intimidating experience would not begin to describe it. The dog barked directly in my face with such force that it almost felt like I was being punched out by sound itself. But then the Dogman stopped barking in the middle of one bark and got the strangest look on his dog face. It was a kind of confused expression that I had never seen on any sort of animal before, nor have I seen it again since. Maybe it's better if I can't describe it exactly because I couldn't read its meaning in that moment either. He just stared at me with a look so confused that I kind of got even more scared than it would have seemed possible. Then, the dog quickly repositioned himself, so quickly that I couldn't even move an inch. Now he was out of my face, but he had his nose pressed into my lower belly. He sniffed vigorously as he moved his long snout around my upper legs, my belly button, my crotch. He spent a long time smelling my crotch, and I tried hard not to even breathe. I didn't want to do anything to disturb him while his nose and his immense rows of fangs were poised directly above the family jewels. If I ever get asked what my greatest fear is, I can answer honestly that my greatest fear is to have a Dogman stick his nose in my crotch and then start to seem interested in what he's smelling. That's not where you want to be, believe me. So, that Dogman was doing that kind of smell that animals sometimes do where their mouth hangs open a bit. I think it allows them to use more senses than just smelling through the nose. I have no idea what kind of information they can get out of using two kinds of smelling at the same time. Maybe they can suss out your social security number, I don't know. Judging by the rapidly changing expressions on that Dogman's face, though, he was reading a lot of information out of those smells. The Dogman then moved himself forward to put his giant, prehistoric-looking dog head right in my face, and I accepted that my time on the planet was now over. The Dogman leaned down, sniffed my face one more time then, licked me vigorously, getting completely sloppy all over me. I was soon giggling, and the giant monster man and I were rolling in the dirt, not fighting at all, but greeting each other. This was not the father Dogman, this was the son, all grown up now. The one I had first seen as a puppy, then as a German shepherd-sized teenager. Now he was every bit as large as his father, and I wondered if he was now on his own in the world. Almost as if in answer to my question, the beast leaped up off of me and raced into the woods. I wasn't even back up on my feet yet when he returned, this time with a beautiful white wolf alongside. I didn't understand at first that this was a female, but I soon figured it out through the nature of their interactions with each other. This was his mate. My Dogman friend had grown, and now he was going to father another generation of Dogmen. I felt proud of him in a weird way, and I wanted him to meet Marla. I called out to her in the woods. But this was real life, not a Disney cartoon from 1947. Marla was long gone. She had fled sometime earlier. That wasn't the last time I saw her, but it was the beginning of the end. It's probably just as well that I didn't get to introduce her to the Dogman, as she and I turned out not to be as serious as he and his white wolf mate. I watched as the young Dogman couple trotted off bipedally, then dropped to all fours and disappeared at great speed. They can move so quickly, through such tightly compacted places, it's a wonder any of us humans ever see them at all. If we ever succeed in catching a Dogman, I bet it'll happen by accident. I don't think we're intelligent enough to outsmart them, not while they have the strength, the agility, and the eons of survival instincts that they have on their side. Now that last Dogman experience had a sort of supernatural vibe to it. I mean, it started off with the Dogman appearing in that unnatural-seeming fog, as lightning and thunder were off in the background. So people ask me if I think Dogman is from another world in any sense. Do I think it's supernatural or paranormal or from another dimension? Well, I don't know enough to say that it isn't, and I don't know enough to say that it is. The fact that I ran into it 3 times, and it seemed older each time, makes it feel like I was dealing with a natural animal that exists in the same timeline as me and ages like I do. That sounds real in the normal sense, not the paranormal sense. As for the fog in that third encounter, it might have been natural. Since fog is associated with Dogman in a number of other sighting reports as well, though, I wonder if that might be an ability of the creature, like a defense mechanism. He was walking with his mate, who was colored bright white, and therefore would be easier to see in the dark woods. Her coloring would make her more vulnerable out in the wild. What if the fog was the result of the Dogman or his mate somehow creating their own cloud cover or cloaking? I know it's bad form for me to present that idea when I can't even guess how an apex predator would be able to auto-generate fog at will, but it did seem very convenient that it was there when it suited him and gone when he wanted me to meet his girlfriend. Then again, that might have also been entirely coincidental and just randomly convenient. I don't know enough to say for sure either way. So it's been many years since this all happened. I've never seen the Dogman again, but I'm rarely in the forest any longer. He aged from puppy into adult at a rate far faster than it would take a human being. Does that mean the Dogman's life expectancy is also shorter than that of a human? Maybe he's been gone for years. Maybe he's still around. I can't know either way. But I'm still very happy that I got to find out when the Dogman took a mate. You get an extra slice of spam in our Scary Stories rations when CS sees our program and makes a kind donation. Please join us in thanking CS for making this and so many of our other episodes possible. Using our brand new thanks button, CS has kept us going for another day. Our thanks go deeper than Loch Ness when we feel grateful to CS. We have a number of ways you can help, and just as many perks we can share with you in return, including extra secret episodes far too wild to ever present on this channel. Here to fill in the deets is international TV spokesmongrel Henry Lee Dogman. Hank? Thanks, Biggie. And thanks to all of you for watching this far. If you liked it, please click like. If you'd like to see more of our work, please subscribe. And also click that bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we put out a new episode. To become an executive producer, you can donate to us through the thanks button under each of our videos or through our paypal.me/PeterBernard209 page. To receive cool perks like secret uncensored Dogman episodes far too wild to ever run on this channel, you can become a YouTube channel member by clicking the join button, or join our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. Joining either at the $3 a month level or above gets you access to our over 25 hours of secret uncensored Dogman stories available nowhere else. Do you have a scary story about Dogman or some other kind of high strangeness that happened to you? Let us know by emailing us at scarystoriesnyc@gmail.com or by leaving us a voicemail message at 804-LASCARY. You may need to call back on that one. It cuts off after, I think, 3 minutes. And if you don't want to do any of that stuff, thank you for simply watching to the end. Good night, and have a scary tomorrow.
Come back for more scary stories.